How do I show my staff that their work is amazing while also asking them to do more? How do I meet the metrics and keep projects going as I reorganise, yet again, workloads and responsibilities? How do I read the 10 reports I received about some interesting and pertinent topics I should know about? How do I get to the 10 meetings that would be so beneficial for me to attend so I can meet the people who might be able to help me with the money, staff, service user, fill in the blank, issues that I have? We have attendees here today from the community organisations, from local development groups, from city and county councils and from government departments. We're all working hard for our communities and we're all worried about how we're going to get everything done and move everything forward and meet all of the project deadlines. We're all worried because we care. We want people who live in Ireland to have opportunities. We see things that we can change for the better and we want to change them and we are changing them. In this event today, you see the fruits of the care that you have shown. All of the care also particularly is strikingly comprehensive in the report that Pobal has created for you. I counted 2,171 standalone numerical values in the SICAP report 24. I also counted 330 different percentages. And each one of those figures captures a change that you made. And you didn't make those changes alone. You made them with your colleagues and with your organisations, and maybe with people you didn't even really like, but you worked with them because they had the same goal as you had. You made the changes with the money the department gave you, thank you very much. Then Pobal counted the changes and recorded them so you could see how much you have done in 1 year. How many lives you've touched and changed. Sometimes maybe not in a big way, but always in a significant way. And change is very hard, guys, especially society change. We've solved and can solve lots of difficult, complicated problems. Roads, dams, water systems, air travel, and we're left with the complex problems. This is so frustrating and hard and annoying. It's also messy and ever-changing and never-ending. With these complex problems, it's difficult to find where to start or how to start. Often the problems are so complex and require so many systems change that it feels overwhelming. No wonder we get tired, frustrated, agitated, and worst of all, cynical. Because change is so hard to see and so slow, we start to think that people are not working as hard as us, are not trying their best, that maybe they don't care. This happens to me a lot. I get downhearted and upset, and I will admit I do have ungenerous thoughts about others. When this happens, I try and stop and remind myself to give people the benefit of the doubt, because their challenges are probably the same as my challenges. Their challenges are probably money, other people, rules, regulations and policies. We all know that we're living in an increasingly polarised world. A world where difference is more important than similarity, and where what separates us from each other is elevated above what brings us together. Polarisation with the big P happens out there on a national and international stage, but polarisation with the small p happens between us. When we don't talk to each other, when we do not try to listen, when we're afraid to hear a different point of view, when we don't want to compromise. I'm never like that. When we retreat into our silos and only talk to people who'll agree with us. This small p polarisation is dangerous because it happens, it's so easy to do, especially when we're all worried all the time. It doesn't seem like polarisation, it seems like self-preservation. It seems like what we need to do is to keep working in the sector, or what we need to do not to burn out. But this is the sneaky thing about polarisation. It disguises itself as something else, and then before we know it, we can't talk to each other, we can't listen to each other, or hear different points of view. Once that happens, it's easier to blame the other person, group, department, and the work of polarisation is complete. Because when we need each other, we won't know how to reach out. We won't have the relationships, the trust, or the colleagues. We'll only have transactions left to us. And we all know that while transactions will keep the system going, they will certainly not create change. For change, you need energy, belief, hope, faith in the future, and people like you. I often feel like I'm not doing enough. It always feels like there are more great interventions I could champion and more initiatives I could deliver if I just had another €100, €1,000, €10,000, €100,000. We all feel like that. I'm sure the Minister advocates for more money at Cabinet, and councils advocate for more money from central government, and local development groups advocate for more money from the councils, and community groups from local development groups, and so on. Yet, we don't see our similarity. We don't see that we're asking all the time. We're all beggars. We all have to make those dreaded business plans or funding applications or fill out some form or other. But we don't see that we're all the same. Isn't that terrible? We think that when we ask for money and they don't give it, that the person who says no doesn't care. But we know that when we are asked for money and we can't give it, it's very painful. In fact, it's so painful that we send the no in an email, because we can't face the person's disappointment, either face to face or over the phone. We distance ourselves from the pain of it all. Yet we all know that if we get a personal call from someone who couldn't give us money, just to say, sorry, I can't give it to you this time, and thanks very much for caring enough to apply, it would mean the world to us. Even if we're still put out that we didn't get money, at least we would feel we had a bit of connection, a bit of a relationship with the person. We don't see that we all have the burden of saying no when we would only love to say yes. We don't identify with each other. Isn't that terrible? We have opportunities to connect across shared experiences, but we can't if we don't engage with the other P that is ever present, power. Now, power with the big P is again for national and international politics and international stage, but power with the small p is everywhere. If we're aware of how it works in us and how we use it, we can do a better job of not letting it trip us up. We can take a deep breath and try not to hide behind it, or use it to insulate us against the pain and discomfort we all experience when we cannot do everything for everybody. We can use our power to connect. We can say, I'm so frustrated and I wish that things were easier and that I could do more, but this is my best. We can use our power to show that we too are just human. We can make the call rather than write the email. Now, I can hear the Minister saying, Niamh, are you saying I have to ring 400 community groups to say sorry you didn't get funding? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you did do that, the personal connection would create positive power, the power of goodwill. And goodwill makes absolutely everything easier. We know the power of it when we experience it. When the computer won't work and you must send that document today, when the community space is too expensive for the group you want to run, when the usual driver of the Garda bus is sick and you need to get the kids to the youth club. It's goodwill when your colleague shows you how to fix the laptop. It's goodwill when the community manager gives you the space for free. It's goodwill when you ring and ask for another person to drive the bus and they say yes. Goodwill is often the power behind how we get things done when systems, transactions and processes fail us. And we need to champion goodwill, because goodwill is the opposite of cynicism and polarisation. It's the power that is abundant in all of the work to develop our communities, whether we are doing it from an office in a county council or in a raincoat in the Burren. And there was never a better time to harness the power of goodwill to the powerhouse of community development. Community development is about the courage to try to solve some of the most intractable, slippery, complex problems that are in Ireland today. It is the courage to look those problems in the eye and face them, even if it's breaking your heart. Community development is about not turning away when it's hard, frustrating and angering. It is about the courage to say things could be better and to ask for the help that you need. And it is the belief that there is goodwill enough out there that together you can make the change happen. Community development is about feeling the burden of worry, about all of the things that you cannot do while still doing everything that you can. Community development is about the privilege of working every day with and for people who cannot see your efforts because they are full up of their own struggles. Community development is about remembering that together we are stronger, and that means together with everyone. Community members, organisations, department officials, public officers, everyone. It does not mean that we must agree. In fact, it's better if we don't. It is better if we argue and discuss and get a bit odd with each other and then have to come back and try again. It's better because we have to practice using our goodwill to come to the table and listen to each other, no matter how hard, because the future of not listening is clear to see in every newspaper article and on every news channel. In this keynote address, I've tried to be honest and share with you my world in my words, and to tell you about the things that trouble me. To focus on the value of working together and my fears about what will happen if we don't continue to strive to do so. I hope that my thoughts have emphasised the profound importance of what you are doing. Every one of you, in your work, in your participation, in the goodwill you generate with every connection that you make, is protecting our society from the worst aspects of cynicism and polarisation. Every window you get funded for, every car park you get retarred, every young person who can read better, every child who's less hungry, and every older person who's less lonely. You did that. And you did that together. Change is happening, and it's happening through a massive network of people who sometimes don't like each other, and sometimes are in competition with each other, but ultimately all are doing their best for their fellow human beings. That's the work. That's the struggle within this democratic society. I would ask you to enjoy your day, save for the knowledge that it is all of you who are driving that change, who are driving it towards social inclusion, kindness and care, and away from bigotry, division and hatred. You're doing it through your continuous effort, through your life energy spent working for others, and most importantly, you're doing it together. Thank you.